Over Labor Day weekend in September 1925, two big stories made national news. The crash of the U.S. Navy's first military dirigible in Ohio, which killed 14, and the kidnapping of the 6-year-old daughter of a wealthy New Jersey banker. A third story appeared on the front page of the New York Times just as the city was getting back to work. It carried an unsettling headline: "Woman Dry Worker Murdered in Iowa." The term dry worker made more sense in 1925 than today. The country was 5 years into the grand Prohibition experiment. Someone who was dry was opposed to drinking. On the opposite side were the wets, who were either unabashed drinkers or tolerant of those who were. As a reader of the New York Times in 1925, you were almost certainly wet. Thus, the story spoke to you, and you read. The victim was the 51-year-old leader of the Women's Christian Temperance Union in a standstill town about halfway between Cedar Rapids and Waterloo, Iowa, on the banks of the Cedar River. Her name was Myrtle Underwood Cook, and she was shot once, right through the heart. Authorities were calling it an assassination, at least according to the Times. The paper breathlessly reported that gangsters from Chicago were responsible. Vinton has long been known as one of the wettest spots in eastern Iowa, the Times said of the town where the murder took place. It is halfway between Chicago and Omaha, and is said to be used as a cache for alcohol run from Chicago and kept there until the western rum runners can get it. The victim's home was adjacent to the Rock Island Railway Station, and her parlor window had a clear view of the platform and the seedy cafe where the illicit liquor trade operated. The Times noted that Cook had been instrumental in the prosecution of bootleggers several times in recent months and implied she had been killed because of her activism. A Prohibition official said tonight that the assassination had all the earmarks of a Chicago gunman's work, the Times reported, and he believes that whoever sponsored the crime imported a Chicago gunman to do it. The mention of Chicago was not incidental. The bloody beer wars had become daily fodder for New York's ravenous news industry. Chicago crime boss Dion O'Banion had been gunned down in his North Side flower shop a year before. An unsuccessful reprisal hit on Johnny Torrio, leader of the South Side gang, took place a few weeks later, which led Torrio to hand the reins over to his top lieutenant, Al Capone, in early 1925. The Cook murder appeared to be an escalation of Chicago lawlessness, and like the Times editor who flagged the story for page 1 the moment he ripped it off the wire, you too wanted more. 2 days later, you got more.